Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Jack Buckskin. Jack is a trailblazer for the relationship and for the reclamation and revitalisation of the Kaurna language. He's a Kaurna and Narungga man who is the founder of the performing arts company Kumakaru. I don't know if I got that right, Jack, but close. And he's also a coordinator and educator at Kaurna College. So please join me in welcoming Jack to give welcome to country. Thank you.
I'll come and stand at the front here. Firstly, I just want to say Happy New Year's to you all. It's my first day back to work today, so thank you very much for having me here. I'm still in holiday mode, and I will be shooting off straight after this to go back and join my holiday mode for the weekend. But those that don't know me, my name is Jack. My mum didn't give me the name Jack. She actually gave me the name Vincent, and I didn't find out my name was Jack until I didn't find out my name was Vincent until I started school because my whole family called me Jack. Jack's easier for you to remember because my Aboriginal name is Ganyapundu Unduit Pinakudnawicha. I don't like people calling me Vincent. My mum's brother's name's Vincent, and my mum's brother, back in 2011, I won Young South Australian of the Year, and my mum's brother was like, yeah, I'm Vincent. He's getting all the emails, so he tried to claim my name, so I never use it. I never used it that much that I actually gave it to my son because it was like a brand new tyre that hadn't been used. So my young son's now Vincent as well, poor bloke, because my uncle will tell you that he's the real Vincent. I represent 3 different Aboriginal groups, the Kaurna of the Adelaide Plains here, Narungga from the York Peninsula, Wirangal from Streaky Bay, Sejuna area, but also acknowledge my father who's Italian-Scottish. I take every opportunity I can to speak in language, so when I get the opportunity, I will translate in language, as I'm the first person in my family to be able to speak publicly and to educate others around as well. So ngai Kaurna Narungga Wirangal meo kuma ngai tu yalara pa Italian Scottish meo kuma. Maroja ngadlu ko Buckskin board kana kumagani mini yalara ngadlu wangan de mani na board ngadlu ko yatana. I do take the honour of on behalf of Kaurna people getting the opportunity to welcome you all onto country. It's a protocol for us to welcome our guests onto country. And as part of that, it's about acknowledging the spiritual ancestors of the lands that we meet on and that we all come as friends. So ngadlu tampanding ngadlu ko Buckskin miena ngadlu ko tampanding ngadlu ko Buckskin ngadlu ko tampanding ngadlu ko Borkana kuma. So we acknowledge the spiritual ancestors of this land. I'd acknowledge them and let them know that everybody that comes here as guests from afar come as friends. And whether we live in the Adelaide Plains area, we actually come from different lands. I come from a place called Muliaki, which is about 30 k's north of the city of Adelaide, and travelling into the city of Adelaide across 3 different lands. So even within the Kaurna people, we have different lands, and I'm a visitor to the CBD area, so I acknowledge on behalf of all of us that spiritual connection and the spiritual relationships of the elders that live within this country that help guide all of us when we travel on lands. People ask, why do we do welcome to countries? Because, and the best way I can explain it is that we believe in multiple worlds. As Aboriginal people believe in multiple worlds, which is the sky world, the spiritual world that lives harmoniously with our physical world. Now, the physical world, we all see it, so we believe it. But the spiritual world, the sky world, which is one, it's a bit like Pokemon Go. For those that had kids and grandkids, it's a world hidden within our world. And with the right skills and technique, you can access the spiritual world. And we, as human beings, we all have this inner energy about ourselves. We're all energies, even as people, but this inner energy in the spiritual world is part of that energy that we all connect with ourselves. And I encourage people to continue to connect with yourself, because when you connect with yourself, you connect with your environment. We're all ourselves. Biggest tip for Aboriginal culture: togetherness and oneness. We never do anything on our own. We always do things together, and I love coming to conferences because it's where people come together to make decisions, and that's what our culture is all about. But the oneness is that none of us are more superior than anybody that stands alongside of us, because we all have our own responsibilities. my Aboriginal name, Ganya Pundunduit Pinakudna, which what it does is it tells you my responsibility and where I fit in my family. Ganya, it's my individual totem, it means the rock. It's my duty to care for the life and the habitats of the rock. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's easier when it's a plant and an animal. My nephew, he's a wombat, so it's his duty to care for those. He's not allowed to eat them. My children, my oldest daughter is Gudlul, the black swan. So the life and habitat around our country, where all our Gudlul, where all the black swans live, it's her duty to care for that part of the country. My second-born son, Vincent, now he's Ngukul, which is the owl. And my youngest is Pundundul, the dragonfly. So my name then went from Ganya on its own to Ganya Pundundul, the father of the dragonfly, to help my youngest understand his responsibility. And Gudnawitcha tells you I'm the third-born male in my family. So each of us, our individual totem is our responsibility to care for it. And without anybody else, we won't be able to, that sustainability of that plant, animal, or element, whatever it is going to be neglected. So when we talk about understanding our spiritual connection to place and country and talking about our inner selves, we connect ourselves with the spiritual world and sometimes don't even realise it. First way that Aboriginal people can access the spiritual world is through scent, through smell. And a lot of us would have these opportunities that arise from us. When you have a certain grandmother or a mother or somebody that has this certain perfume or odour, and they pass away, and then many years later you're walking down the street and you cop a whiff of that smell. Ever happened to anybody? Now that's for us as people, the way we welcome our guests and acknowledge that guest or acknowledge our guests on an individual level. If you came into my country, I'll rub my sweat onto you. Because we all come with a certain smell about ourselves. You notice that you'll borrow a friend's jumper, you smell them, and you go to their house and you realise the whole family have the same smell. So when we're talking about the spiritual connection and why that happens when we smell that old person that might have passed away, or a younger person, whatever, it's because it's unique to us. By rubbing our sweat onto you, you become part of our family. So the spiritual world amongst you live and look after you. Now, I'm not there's too many of you to rub my sweat on, and it's even though it's summer, it's not that warm outside, so I'll leave you with that one. But I speak you into country. The other way of the next way from smelling and being a part of the spiritual world through scent is through feeling. When you feel at a place where you're at home, or you can get to a place, even if it's a nice lecture theatre like this, and you feel your hairs tingle and it feels like a place you're not supposed to be. You start to feel, and then you start to see, and communicate comes next. And I was always sceptical as a kid because, we had family that goes, oh, your grandmother's over in the corner and she'd been passed away for many, many years. And we go, no, she's not. And we thought the old people were crazy. We're like, no, there's nobody there. Yous are crazy. And then when you eventually grow and all these things happen, you go, okay, maybe you're not crazy. We just haven't learnt yet. And we encourage people to say, and that's why I say I encourage people to get in touch with oneself, because by getting in touch with oneself, you get in touch with the energies of everything else around us, because we're all energies. So I do acknowledge and thank you for allowing me to come and welcome you on the country. On behalf of our people, welcome. For those that come from afar, so those that have come from afar, welcome to Adelaide. Adelaide's original name is known as Darndanya. Now, Darndanya is the short form of saying Darndaganya, which is the dreaming place of the big red kangaroo. The old stories of the Darnda, who was the red kangaroo, travelled from this land and travelled right across the lands and gave us what it is, our law system. And it started here in the city of Adelaide. So next time you come back, for those that are from overseas or interstate, hand up. Sweet. Now I'm going to get you to follow me, yeah? You're going to say this, Darndanya. Now the locals, I want you to say, Darndanya. Yeah, a little bit outnumbered. Try the interstate or internationals again. Darndanya. Now next time you come back to Adelaide, you're going to be coming back to? Very good, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Enjoy. Yancha Wandinga, nothing up. I'm going to stick around. I'm shooting off. Thank you.